I love this thing. So, this is the camper van, but yesterday it was work van. Total mess, tools everywhere, scraps everywhere from a project. I made a video showing how it transforms into this. Bed, kitchen, all kinds of cool dual purpose things. I built it 5 years ago. It's 2017 Ram Promaster, the tall one and the long one. Forget the numbers. Anyway, check out this video. It is awesome. I'm about to go camping. I'm going to do 2 nights locally, nothing special. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video or not, or I'm going to try to, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. Anyway, this is my work van slash camper slash adventure mobile. So I went in detail. If you want to see just the camper stuff, go to like the halfway mark or somewhere around there. I'm sure that's where you'll see me bring in the items for camping, like this bed, swapping out the front area to make it a real kitchen. But anyway, love this thing. Highly recommend if you have a van that you're not going to live in, make it dual purpose. You can do everything then. You have room to do chores, you have room to go camping. So check out the video. If you have any questions, you can always make more of them or answer questions in the comments, but I gotta go camping. I guess you might as well see it before I do anything. Like I said, it's a mess. There's all the scraps from the projects, but I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, each side has a built-in chest or just a big unit. On this side, it's just a chest that keeps all of my bagged tools like nailers and stuff. So this just opens up over here. The other side holds some pack outs. Basically, it's just built so that a bed can go across it, and I'll show you details later. But right now I have scraps of plywood that have to come out. I keep a couple big tools clamped down on an L track up on that side. I'll show you that close up too. And then any large tool, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's a work van, but there's hardly any like storage up on the sides. Any big tool I bring in and out as I need it for a project. So tile saw, table saw, big chop saws, those are never always in the van. I'm a one-man show, so like I know what I need for a project. So depending on what that is, I take it in and out. So I'm gonna clean up the scraps and then we'll come back. This walnut plywood is getting used soon, maybe in the next couple of videos. And this is my final scrap from the other van build that we just did. And I think you should go check out those videos if you haven't. That was a fun project. So here's one side of our rear. Let's take this down so I can show you. I routed this T-track system in, and it's just a simple one strip. And then as you can see, you can slide whatever you want. You can have just these screwable things. You can have these clamps. So things that I can hold up here and clamp down, make really tight, I can leave up here, which I love because once I slide these out, it's totally flat for our bed, which you'll see. This is my grinder. I'll show this too. My grinder stuff. So blades, I cut that with foam so everything sits nicely. Just some attachments for my grinder. And that grinder's up top. Anyway, let's get rid of that. Just unscrews. And then these clamps slide off the edge here. Might as well show you everything. Once I move this stuff, it'll slide right out. Here on the other side, the driver's side, another chest. My stability levels just sit there. They never slide off somehow magically. And then this is just a chest. It's very heavy. It doesn't slide around because I put pieces around the perimeter that stay inside the box. And then this is just giant storage. Now, if I ever go on like a long camping trip, like one of my favorite things to do is Acadia National Park in Maine. And if I'm there for a long time, like a week or more, I'll take tools out and I'll put essential tools in here. So like if I have a breakdown, so like maybe some more mechanic type tools or any kind of like fun survival gear that I probably won't use but might want to, that can go in here. But this is a huge just chest. It's great. Might as well rotate you here since we're here on the back. go handheld. Attached to that is just a pipe system, so flange, black pipe, and just arms. I usually use it for different types of tape. Just hang it. Was just a fun idea for me, but it also ended up holding my upper shelf. And this upper shelf is from, unfortunately, I don't have videos of my favorite project. So on Instagram during COVID, I did one of my favorite projects. It was a very, I hate the word modern, but this concrete, almost minimalist, almost brutalist bathroom with a cool hickory slatted wall feature in it. And every piece of hickory that I cut down for a slat wall, I had a little tiny skinny strip, and I saved them and glued them together. And that's how I made the face of this unit. And then up top, I don't know if you can see, it's just OSB that I cut into to keep things from moving. So I have tile spacers. If I go on a camping trip, instead of tile spacers, I put books in there that I want to read. Toolboxes, these have some spacers. I also keep a toolbox for personal items like deodorant, toothbrush for an emergency, body spray, soap, and that's always here in case I'm on the road for work or something. I have to clean up, or like, if I smell and I have to spray myself before I go on an estimate, that's always up there. That's one of these. But anyway, that's just some fun storage. What else? Next. All right, a little lower. I'm not going on a major trip, so this stuff can stay, but these are just cool holders I found for my track saw on Amazon. That can stay up right now. I have that on that side. On the passenger side, I made my own out of a piece of solid oak, and I didn't make it for that. I actually last year made that for a snowboard. Not that it's a all-wheel drive van, but I'm in New Jersey, and if I want to go snowboarding, I could just slide that on the side here, and then I can actually get ready in the van, so I can change into all my snowboarding gear, which is an awesome thing to not have to drive around in all your gear. That's just a fun side note. This, I used to have a built-in like Craftsman toolbox, but I ended up cutting it out and just adding packouts, personal protection, some garbage bags, cleanup stuff, a light, so random stuff, random screws. Other side, driver's side. There's our center column. This column is basically in the center, and that's where I have obviously the power that I showed you, the switches, and then here I keep, usually I have three things, but I broke a shelf on the bottom, but I keep a pack out for exterior screws. This is plumbing items, so fittings, I should say fittings. Anyway, these come out, and this is where I keep my clothes when we're camping. So I'll use little packing cubes, zipper packing cubes, pack all my stuff. So one shelf will be shirts, the other will be pants, whatever. These crates I love. They don't match our red. These are from Walmart, the Heart, right? Yeah, Heart brand. They just fit into each other so nicely. They're nice and snug, and they're way cheaper than Milwaukee stuff. But I have one for paint stuff, so pans, brushes, rollers, sponges, sanding sponges, tape, drywall stuff. And the bottom one is all my trowels for tile. All right, so that comes out. This is where I'm going to keep my cooler. So in a minute, I'll show you the other side where I could have a small cooler-sized refrigerator that I'm wired for. But this week, I'm only going for one day camping, so I'm just going to bring a cooler, and I tuck that in there. We're going to move to the front, but I'm going to clean up the floor. The floor, obviously, with the sliding door on the side, that's where I keep my drill bag, my tool bucket that I pull out immediately all the time. So I'm going to clear that out and then show you the kitchen area, which is one of my favorite parts because it's such an easy transformation from work to camp, and that's what changes everything. So I'm going to clear this out, open up the side door, and we do the fun parts. I didn't plan on talking this much in this video, but there's so much to say. There's like all the little things that are so fun that I think are fun, that I thought of the dual purpose-ness of it. Anyway, so this, over the years, I've realized it is a waste of space as far as the work van goes. In the beginning, I thought it was cool to say I had an employee lounge in the work van with a kitchen and stuff. Like, yeah, that was fun. But as far as the water goes, it almost never gets used. Like I said, the 12-volt water pump takes up so much. But I do have this single supply, so just cold water with this flexible head. I got the flexible head not only because you can move it around, but also you could put it up. So if there was in the water in the system, by putting it up, it never drips onto my counter. But anyway, let's start up top. Same as the back. I have I made this shelf out of the leftover hickory from a project. Looks cool. What looks cool is that it has the different hickory, has so much variation that it almost has this nautical looking stripe to it once I glued it together. I did do a fast job. You know, when you build things for other people, you never do it nicely for yourself. So I quickly, you know, glued it and just brad nailed it together. So you do see some gaps. It's not like fine furniture, but you'll see that theme when I do things for myself. It never matters that much. Anyway, up top, I've got some tools. Pull those out, and then these are just bins, you know, and when I built this stuff, I made sure I built it, so I bought some kind of bin, and I made sure that this shelf would hold it. That's how I chose my sizes and stuff, but these are just tiny little plastic bins from Walmart or something. I do like how they have these little pegs on the sides, so they kind of interlock together. If you push two together, it just helps them with moving around, and then you know, you can either wedge enough of those up there or just add stuff. But anyway, that's the top. Moving down, I am talking way more than I thought. This is a metal Amazon find, just a metal spray can holder. So it's made to hold your spray paints and stuff. So since we're camping, take that out. And I have these clear canisters I just found on Amazon. I can usually put coffee beans, nuts, whatever other little snack I might be able to keep in there for camping. So that changes to that. Love that dual purpose. This knife always stays here. This is a Mora knife. If you don't know Mora, and you know, this isn't a video about, or this isn't a channel about EDC, but since it's about real life, you're going to see me end up doing videos on, you know, everyday carry and gadgets and just fun stuff. And if you don't know Mora knife, they're so cheap. Like probably, I forget, but this is probably $12. It's a, not sure if it's full tang, but it's a fixed blade. This one's stainless steel. I keep it in this kitchen area for cutting food and stuff. That always stays here. That way I always have a knife right here. And that just slides, it's backwards, slides in here. Always there in the kitchen. Backsplash, no grout, just random hex tiles that I hot glued. And by the way, the hot glue has been amazing, and that's 5 years. So if you're wondering if you can hot glue stuff to the back of your van, so just, I'm a tile guy, and just because it's tile doesn't mean you have to use thin set. On a wall application, that doesn't matter. So in the van, hot glue has stayed forever with that cool backsplash, and I just artistically chose to branch it off and stop it. Let's show off this sink now. Mountain bike helmet does not get used much anymore, as much as I think it should. That should change, but as you get older, you find less time to do the fun stuff. Anyway, this cabinet was salvaged from a kitchen project, so that was free. I painted it blue. This is Hail Navy blue from Benjamin Moore. This is a cheapo Husky from Home Depot, the Husky tops that they sell for their rolling tool carts, I think. And I just, you know, you had one shot to make it a cover for your sink. So after I mounted the sink underneath, I used the hole saw on the edge and then jigsawed around with the template. And that's how I cover the sink, which is cool. That's a fun, easy way to show off or pretend that you have skills by having a cutout sink cover. Anyway, slide these tools away. Now let's talk about multi-purpose, because that's the fun thing about this van, was thinking back in the day when I made it, it was so fun to just sit and stare and be like, what can I do here? And I had this cabinet, you know, sometimes it's because you thought of something really cool. Sometimes it's because you're stuck and you have something and you have to work around it. So I had this cabinet that was free. I put that there, and then I wanted more space. I knew I wanted pack outs in this system. So based on the measurement of a pack out mounting plate, which is on the bottom here, I built this, just a bench, and it's empty right now. I could store stuff. I had dreams of putting batteries in there for the van. Just never happened. So I have this thing. That's where my shore power comes out. So I have a 15 amp outlet here that connects to the hole on the side of the van, just a simple connector. And then if I plug in at a campsite ever, all of a sudden I have an outlet in here and I feel like I'm in a home, and that's awesome for charging batteries. Anyway, these pack outs come out, and I might as well, since I'm talking about the work van, my bottom, I labeled them when I could, but this is 20-volt saws. So reciprocating saw, what's the other one? Oscillating saw I keep in here with blades. I also have a hot glue gun in there. Here is screws and staplers. And then up top, this 3-drawer one, I keep small stuff. I have 1 drawer for plumbing tools. Like I said, I have a little bit of plumbing and electrical stuff all the time. So this drawer is electrical tools, like testers and just a little side pouch belt with what I might need to do electrical. So screwdrivers, tester, wire strippers, crimpers. That's in there. This upper one is plumbing. So things like pipe cutters, random weird wrenches for sinks, PEX cutters, PEX crimpers, stops. I always have stops on me as a bathroom guy. If you try to demo a bathroom and their valves don't work, you have to shut off the whole house, and that's not good. So always have stops. Anyway, random screws and spacers up here for tile work. This whole thing comes out, and this is the fun part, because I have 1 pack out for camping. So I have a 3-drawer pack out coming back in that sits under the counter level, and then I put another piece of counter on top here. So all of a sudden I have a kitchen where I can do stuff, and that's the part that gets me excited most. So let's get rid of these. Actually, let's get rid of those. And before I bring anything back in, I want to blow this van out. Let's get everything out of here, wipe it down, then we'll bring the fun stuff in. This is a great mat I lucked into. This was like a whole roll from a gym. I helped someone with a gym renovation once, and there was this old roll of mat left over. So this has been awesome in here. It's nice and thick. And I cut this into front and back because usually I leave the back one in, because if I go anywhere underneath the bed, I'll keep like a mountain bike or all my other gear. So usually this front one only comes out. And this is 5 years old, and it looks brand new because of that mat. So anytime I do this, I feel like I have a new camper. This is a nice grayish tan LVP flooring. Clicked right into place. Under that, the van was nice. It came with the coin or hex black, like heavy duty flooring. I covered it up. This has worked out really nicely. It's not buckling anywhere. It's not falling apart anywhere. It's been awesome. Let's wipe things down and then bring things in. So let's talk about this piece. As I do this, I realize I'm more multifunctional than I even remembered. This piece I built later on as like a catch-all, because every time you open the side of the van when you're at work, you throw stuff in. You're trying to go home probably at the end of the day. So all little stuff, I just built this. And I built it for the height to accept my 12-volt cooler or refrigerator. It's a cooler sized refrigerator. I don't have it on me because I'm not using it here. But that could slide in there, and I have a plug over there too for that. I'm not going to use that, but very often, and you're going to see what comes here next is a bench, and it's split into 2 pieces. So sometimes I leave this in, and I use 1 piece of that bench with a cushion, and that's how I get onto my bed too. And I like that because I can put stuff like my phone and a drink here at night, my watch, my everything here at night while I sleep. But this time I'm going to take it out, and I have it so it bolts into the side of this storage chest unit with wing nuts on the back. So I can just reach in here. I hope I hit record. Yeah. I can just reach in here, and there's wing nuts. Wing nuts with a lock washer too. Are you focused? So I have 2 of them on the back there, and I can remove this and just put it in the garage. And that's what I'm going to do this time, because I have so many little tools in there and it's going to be a mess. So let's just get rid of it. And what's going to come next is, like I said, 2 options. So I can either have a long bench here, and I built these items knowing that I had to buy a cushion off the shelf at like a garden supply center. So you'll see the size options as I go through it. But I can either have a long bench here or a single bench, and then that bench can also, that cushion size also fits into here where my Milwaukee packouts are. So technically, and I crack myself up because when I built this van, I used to joke about having guests, and I could be like, oh, I could accommodate, 4 guests for a happy hour. But it's funny because I really could, because you could remove that pack out and put a cushion here, and you can actually sit here on top of that cushion without even removing this mount. So you could sit here and hang out, and you can have a bench on this side. But you'll see in a second. But let's get rid of this unit I just unscrewed. This comes out, I just get rid of it. 2 of these slide in. All right, so we've got 2 of these, and these are just randomly built boxes, funny angle, out of OSB. And at the time I had OSB. I also like the texture of it, but OSB makes them heavier. But they're painted, same color, tie everything in, simple lids. Again, I threw these together in a few seconds, and I put sections in them, and it's got my camping stuff, tin foil, mugs, my pot set, some pans, a tarp in case I needed paper towels, and then I keep the other one kind of empty for, I don't know if you can see this side, keep this empty, and what I do is keep shoes in one side and dirty laundry in the other. And that wasn't planned, that's just on my first trip, that's what I figured. I was like, oh, I need somewhere to put stuff. Anyway, we've got these now, and when they're together, I'm hooked on something here. By the way, my tie downs, the tie downs that came in the van, the big D-ring tie downs, I left them visible on purpose. So I cut this flooring around them so you can still see the heavy duty tie downs that go into the chassis of the van. They're still in there so that I can pull a dirt bike in here and ratchet it down at the front forks. So that's how I plan distances as well, so that I could always do that if I want to bring a dirt bike in or a motorcycle. I'm remembering all these little things that I thought of to say out loud. And these are on rubber feet, and I don't worry about them moving around. If they slide around when I'm driving, then I just put them back. It's only dangerous if I flip the van and they hit me in the head. Let's grab some cushions and I'll show you how this works out. Then we'll bring in the kitchen stuff. Then we'll do the bed last. Like I said, I built these boxes for the length of a cushion. So this is like a bench cushion for patio set. Now I have a bench, and what I use this step for is to step up onto the bed. And if you can see, yeah, you can see, this is a single cushion. If I wanted to use that area by my sink as a seat, we could do that there. So that's kind of fun. Like I said, if you had multiple people, you can have this L sitting area, which is kind of weird for a van to have that much room. Also, if it's a rainy day or something, I'll open the side door, sit here, put my feet up. It's cool. It works, I should say. And I get excited as far as this being dual purpose. So it's not a luxury setup, but like I said before, when I was building that other van last week, it's not like it's van life where you're living in it here. And that's awesome if you do have the opportunity to do that and you live in something and you make it nicer. But for the average person with a job and stuff who's just looking for some fun on the weekends, having dual purpose or not going overboard has been key for me. And down the road, I'll talk about how, it's not even insulated in here, and that has been no problem. I spent 3 weeks in Florida once in this. Also no problem because of the ventilation, but, there's so much to say. I can't say it all now. Let's keep building out. Let's do this while we're here. We're not going to have that cushion there. We're switching to this pack out, which, as you can see, it says camp right there on my label. That goes in there. And then this top goes on top of that at that exact height. And I made lips and stuff and front pieces to latch on. You got to figure out your own rig. But all of a sudden we have a kitchen area with a very large counter, and then having the sink open isn't that bad because you can use this. This fits a small size stove. It's a place to cut stuff on a cutting board. It's a place to do work if I had to. If I had to stand here with a computer, I can do that. So it's really my favorite part. And how that tucks so neatly there. Try to get you. How that tucks so neatly is, again, the word is fun for me because let's get you straightened out. For a work van, we're coming along pretty nicely. I'm sweating. Coming along pretty nicely for a weekender fun thing. So in here I have, what do I have? I can show you that. Let's see, and this hasn't been stocked. I took some stuff for a dirt bike trip. Random utensils, paper plates, spoons, tiny little spatulas. I don't mind inconvenience of tiny stuff for camping because it saves. I want to try to be a minimalist. This is crucial. This is your fire pit, extendable fork, coffee filters, instant coffee, coffee grinder, which I won't be using this time around. Not getting beans. Cinnamon. This is more fun stuff than kitchen, but power cord for tying stuff, wipes. These little wipes, which are awesome. These little tablet-sized wipes that you wet and they expand into a very strong paper. Random knives, another Mora knife. One of my favorite, this is a Gerber mini cleaver. It's like really heavy, like it feels really solid. It's full tang, and it's nice and sharp, and it's just fun to do your kitchen prep with such a nice, tiny little tool. Gorilla tape, matches. These are fire starters, a whole section of fire starters. I'm glad I have that. These are hooks for the van. I've almost never used them, but it's a suction cup for the side of your van, and then attached to it is a clip type hook, so you can, if you have to attach something to your van at your campsite, you can. You could, like a line, clothesline or something. Anyway, those are just neat stuff. All right, back to the conversion. I don't want to go overboard on gadgets. Oh, one more drawer. Glow sticks, just for fun, in case my nephew's with me. Rubik's Cube, in case I want to learn how to do that. Extra sunglasses. Soap, mouthwash, power cords. All right, let's talk about the bed. Now, this one is surprising because I never thought I would keep this original thing. When I built this van, I was going on a trip, and it was like all last minute to get something done, and there was no plan. I was just rigging it as I went along. So this is all OSB, and we have a span here of 40 inches. And it's surprising how strong plywood is when it's standing upright. So I have these ribs. They're only like a couple inches. And it's supporting, there's two of these sleeves. And if I don't explain it well, you'll see it when I put it in there. But these go across, there's two of them. And because your weight is so spread out in a bed, you don't need that much support. So you're going to see I'm going to plop these in, but it's all rigged. I painted what you see blue to match everything. And it was so good that I never had to make it any better. So let's throw these in there. I'm going to throw in the top one, or the first one, the front one. And then I'll show you what it's sitting on, because I haven't showed you that. But it's on these angle irons. All right, so that's one in there. And now come on up. Come on in. I don't want to over-explain this, but I definitely want to explain it. So that's sitting. Now the crucial measurements were finding out what height was going to sit flush to what I have in here. But what it's sitting on is just simple L brackets, angle iron out. I want to call it angle iron. I think there's a technical term for that, but it's in the you can get it at Home Depot. It's in the metal aisle. You use it to mount garage door openers up in the air, but it has all these holes in it that you can put hooks in. And normally I have bungee cords in there, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, it sits on top, and the next one comes in, obviously sits on top as well. And then these are just window latches, and once they're on, I latch them together, and then I have the bed, and I throw on the mattress. But I love how simple it is, and I love how satisfying it is when I click them together with this latch, because all of a sudden there's a bed in my van. So let's grab the other one, throw it in. You can't really see, I'm outside now. Like I said, I never planned on it being the final bed, but it works so well, and it's so easy. So good. So let's grab the mattress now. This is just an Amazon find. And what I did have to do with it was, let me just move it. I did unzip it. This is a zipper cover, and it's not how I want it. I want it this way. And I did take out some of it when I got it, and I cut like, I think 2 inches off of it or something because it was too tight. But now it just sits very snugly across the whole thing, and it's a full size, and it's incredible. Now it is interesting getting a sheet on. You have to crawl around to get your sheets on, but I do have a fitted sheet. I usually put my head on this side, obviously, because there's a shelf on this side, but up here I keep, like I said, books. I have magnetic lights that sit up here that are rechargeable, so I can dim lights, because these are not on a dimmer, so this is main lighting, but usually at night I have little puck lights that sit underneath all my counters in the kitchen too, or under my shelves, that I can dim. So anyway, let's put a sheet on. So there we have the skeleton of the camper. Nothing, I haven't brought in any supplies. I'm keeping it minimal this time. I'll bring in my stove with a griddle. Normally I don't care. I'm not big into gourmet meals. I'm not trying to impress you with a video of making food. That's just more stuff to bring. I am going to bring a cooler this time, not a fridge. Keep it simple. So I'll bring a couple easy to make or easy to keep on ice things. I'll make that for dinner. I'll probably bring a fishing pole. What else? A book, Nintendo. But I'm not bringing in many supplies. I'm only staying at this place a day and a half, 2 nights. So anyway, I'll check in tomorrow when I'm loading stuff in here. Maybe put down a couple rugs. Got to pick up some firewood somewhere. But anyway, see you tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. I have to load up all my supplies. I got to make that bed, bring in some food into the kitchen, and then I'll show you just a few of the items that I bring along. Stove, firewood, chair, what else? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I got to load up, and then we're hitting the road. I'm only camping locally just for, 2 nights, but that gives me 1 full day of just doing nothing, sitting in the woods, which sounds good to me. So let's get ready. All right, let's just throw in a few major items. This is my camp stove or fire pit. You'll see that later. I use that. It's more contained than a fire pit, and I can put it wherever I want at a campsite. This is just some random camping stuff. You know, knives, first aid, lights, small stove, random stuff, ponchos. Might not even need any of that. I've got a camp chair. What else? This is a bigger stove. I don't know if I said yesterday I'm bringing a bigger stove just because it has a griddle and I want to cook some bacon in the morning. This guy, I don't know if I'll use it. I've never used it. It was a gift. It's like an awning for the side of the van. I don't think there's going to be anyone at this campground, so I don't need the privacy. But if I'm bored, I might just put it up for fun. Just throw that there. And then I have some firewood. I'm going locally, so I don't have to worry about, they say you shouldn't bring trees from different areas. But this is local. I'm going like 30 minutes from home. And one of the most important things, I always bring my tiny little work blower. Going in and out of the van all day long, you just get stuff on the floor, and it's awesome to just blow out the van, keep it nice and clean. So that's that. Let's make the bed. It's a little tricky to make the bed nicely, but I don't have to impress anyone. So while I'm up here, I might as well talk. You can't be comfortable unless you're laying down, but you can lean against here and be comfortable and like sit upright and watch an iPad or something. But the reason for this height is so that it's exactly at the window height. And if it ever is hot out, if you have those windows open and then the fan turned on to suck air through, the ventilation, or the breeze, I should say, is really amazing. Okay, next, this wool blanket. Pillows. It's good enough. And this is just an extra blanket. It's way more official if I angle it and put it off the side of the bed. I'm way cooler that way. Bed done. All right, kitchen area. I did mention that I bring my blower. I'm also going to bring my radio. Like I said, I'm probably going to be the only one at this campground, so if I want to play some music, I will. I would never play music if there were people around me. I'm very, in life in general, I'm very aware of other people, and I don't think it's fair to have any impact on someone else trying to share your space. Anyway, I'm bringing a radio, but I charged up a bunch of DeWalt batteries, and I keep them up here on these awesome clips, so large and small. I have plenty of batteries. Well, some of them are charging right now, but I forget who makes those. Stealth Mounts? Stealth Mounts makes those nice holders. Anyway, I also mentioned these little tiny bins from Walmart. I have some food. I'm going to add some random food. And then this bag is just a little bit of everything. So I have random snacks, Kind bars, chomps, meat sticks, instant coffee. Anyway, more organizing in the kitchen. And let's see. I'll show you one more thing that I haven't done. And that is the final change from work to play is this area. I mentioned these screws and plumbing things. So that slides out, and then these packing cubes have my clothes. So I have one for pants, one for shirts. That slides in. I think this one fits too. See me? Yeah. So that's close. So that's pretty much all of the dual purpose areas. Kitchen, this little center area, and of course the bed. Let's go camping. I'm actually going to Stoke State Forest. It's in New Jersey, and it's close to me. Never been there before. It's not that exciting, and I think the best looking part of it is closed for the season for some kind of septic fixing. So I drove through last week. I chose a decent spot. I'm just gonna hang out. So that wraps up the van. Hopefully you get something out of seeing how it's dual purpose. It can be work and play with just a little bit, maybe like an hour of cleaning out and switching stuff out. And you can go on a camping trip, adventure, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I am going camping right now. I'm not sure if it's going to be an exciting trip, but I am going to film it. I've never filmed a camping video. So if I like it, I'll post it. If not, you'll have to wait till next time for a real vacation. Anyway, that's the van. Kind of do it all, have fun, work, whatever you need. Pick up stuff at the store. If you're not living in your van, I suggest that's how you do it. You'll love it. See ya.